Good afternoon, Astrolites one and all. Welcome to another sensational episode of Slam Jam, where I discuss things all WWE. I am your host, Mr. Sensational Astral. 48 hours post Vengeance Day. What a night it was. Everybody was hard hitting. They were using their speed, their strength. It was all in all a crazy night. PLE's best events of the year, especially for NXT Judgement Day. And the NXT universe is still clamoring about the end results for the main event for Vengeance Day, but we'll get into that a little later on. But first, we're going to kick things off with the kickoff match of the night, I should say. It was Trick Mello Gang, Carmelo Hayes, and Trick Williams versus Wolf Dogs, Braun Breaker, and Baron Corbin. And when these two first teamed up, a lot of us did not think that they would be able to be on the same page, but they were able to make it all the way to the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals, where they had to face off by the team I mentioned before, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. All four of these gentlemen, they fought their hearts out. They gave everything they had. And sadly, it wasn't meant to be for Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Your 2024 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winners, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, and a lot of us are still shocked to have to hear about that. And later on tonight on NXT Tuesday, they're going to be celebrating their Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic win. And now for the Trick Mello Gang, Hayes was telling Williams that, hey, I took that spear for you just so you can be able to be close to 100% to take on Ilya Dragunov for the championship later on that evening, which I don't think is necessarily true. That's just my opinion on the subject, because I believe if Trick Williams did get speared by Braun Breaker that night, I still think he would have been somewhat close to top notch for his match later on in the evening. But anyway, that was pretty much the end result. Braun Breaker, Baron Corbin, also known as the Wolf Dogs of Some, your 2024 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winners. Congratulations, guys. Now, our next match, this has been going on for weeks. It was Dijak and Joe Gacy. And Joe Gacy, his teammates, his family pretty much went their separate ways. Schism, I was trying to remember the name of it, so pardon me for that. Schism fell apart. Ava became the NXT general manager. So that left Gacy sort of on a path to self-discovery. He wasn't sure really what to do with himself, where to go. But one night he was joining Vic Joseph and Booker T on the commentator desk, and he did a great job. Like, if he's not going to really wrestle anymore, I see Joe Gacy actually being a commentator, but let's not go too far down that rabbit hole just yet. And Dijak pretty much got in Joe Gacy's face. He's like, you shouldn't even be out here at this, that, and the third, and bam! Joe Gacy hits him with a headbutt, and sparks fly, and that pretty much begins their rivalry. And this got severely personal last Tuesday night when Dijak and Gacy were fighting each other, not just through the arena itself, but they took it as far as the dumpster. They were, I'd say, 15, 20 feet up in the 20 feet up in the air, whatever you want to call it. They were basically on they're high up on the dumpster. I apologize if I'm a little tongue twisted. I still couldn't believe it myself when I was watching it. A lot of people were stunned when this happened. Gacy gave it his best shot, but Dijak ended up knocking him into the dumpster. And of course, Ava was livid. She was like, "What is wrong with you doing this and that?" And this wasn't because Gacy is a close friend of hers. No, she was actually being a general manager at that point. She was like, "Have you lost your mind? You threw another guy in the dumpster, and now you want a no disqualification match?" And Gacy came straight up from the dumpster after he heard all that. He was like, "No disqualification. This sounds good to me." So that's pretty much where it led to this past Sunday night at Vengeance Day. Gacy and Dijak pretty much they beat the living so and so out of each other. And Gacy was smiling. He had that Joker mentality. He was just smiling all over the place. He had a real late great Bray Wyatt mentality to him. He just endured the pain. He enjoyed it. But aside from that, it was let me see here. Sorry, it's not saying. But if I remember correctly, I believe it was Dijak who actually won that match. Come to think of it, it was all in all a crazy night. But you know what? Dijak was like, "You know what? This is over. I'm ending this right now." And he did. Got the 3 count, got the W, so congratulations to Dijak. As for Joe Gacy, I hope you keep searching for what you're looking for, and let's see what the future holds for the former leader of the Schism. Now, this was one of my personal favorites. This is also a match that got personal. It was the D'Angelo family versus Out the Mud, aka OTM. And this actually got personal when OTM entered the D'Angelo family restaurant, attacked Riz, and they pretty much said, "Hey, look, this is what happens when you mess with OTM, and sooner or later we're going to be getting another chance at those tag team titles, so your move, whatever." And it's pretty much gotten deeply personal to that point. And OTM has such a bright future ahead of them. I definitely see them eventually becoming the NXT Tag Team Champions. They have the advantage with Miss Parker on their side. The D'Angelo family has Adriana. And this was a great tag team match to watch. Honestly, I could watch it all. I'd probably watch it all over again, but I like to keep myself busy. Busy with other things. But anyway, they went to war with each other, but the outcome went to the D'Angelo family. Adriana, Rizzo, Channing Stacks Tatum, and of course the Don of NXT, Tony D'Angelo. Congratulations to the family. Let's see what's gonna go on with you guys later on tonight if you're at NXT. Now for this one, pretty much, I'm already forgetting people's names. I apologize. Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. Now, this was definitely a personal favorite of mine because, Roxanne Perez, she never really lost the NXT championship. And Lyra Valkyria, she's been on a hot streak ever since becoming the championship, beating the man for it. And that honestly says a lot about Lyra Valkyria. That shows you that she's a household name to be reckoned with. She is the future of the women's division. She has been killing it since becoming the NXT Women's Champion. And she's been having some issues with Tatum Paxley and, of course, Lola Vice. And speaking of, just when you thought that the match was going to end between either Roxanne or Lyra, lo and behold, comes Lola Vice with her women's breakout tournament contract. And she cashes it in. It automatically becomes a triple threat. And the referee pretty much lost control as soon as Tatum Paxley interjected herself in the match. Near the end, she knocked Roxanne Perez. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay, now I remember. Yeah, it was Tatum Paxley. She knocked Roxanne Perez out of the ring, leaving Lyra with Lola Vice. Now, I thought Lola was actually gonna get the championship at one point, but Lyra was like, no, not today, not having it. Hits her with the Michinoku driver, gets her 1, 2, 3, and still NXT Women's Champion. So congratulations to Lyra Valkyria. And this honestly was not over between Roxanne or Lola, because later on in the night, backstage, they were showing that they had they were just about to rip each other's hair out. Let's just put it that way. They were just so, Roxanne was so livid with her because she wanted that one-on-one time, which is understandable, because she never lost that championship, and she wanted to prove that she could win it back on her own, that she could have that one-on-one match. But it did not end up happening. Hopefully down the line we'll be able to see if she gets that one-on-one time, hopefully without interference. But once more, congratulations to Lyra Valkyria, still your NXT Women's Champion. And, rocking the table a little bit, I apologize. But anyway, this match was definitely David and Goliath status. Up-and-comer Oba Femi versus the future of Lucha Libre, Dragon Lee. And Oba Femi, first he started out in the men's breakout tournament. He ended up winning said tournament. And when he was getting interviewed on the... I was about to say the spoiler, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. When he was getting interviewed backstage, he asked the interviewer, that North American Championship match, that's tonight, right? And she told him, yeah. And he had that look of wonderment on his face, like, what if I won that North American Championship? And, of course, we all know how that ended up. He cashed in his NXT Breakout Tournament contract. He ended up getting the best of Dragon Lee. And everybody blew the roof off of that place after the referee hit 3. And I had a look of shock on my face too. I'm not gonna lie. I was so amazed. But of course, Oba Femi, he's got a household name to him as well. What was it, like a month or so into his NXT debut, and he's already rocking the NXT North American Championship? That shows you just who you're dealing with. That's amazing. And I don't just see him as NXT North American champion. I also see him as a future world heavyweight champion. That is how good I believe Obafemi is. And pertaining to this match, Dragon Lee fought his heart out. And he actually, a time or two, was able to get Obafemi to his knees. And just when he was about to go for that Operation Dragon, he got caught. And just before the match was over, he pretty much, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it's just so insane to me how Obafemi can pick up a grown man like it's nothing. It was like that Royal Rumble moment where you see Jade. It was where you saw Jade pick up Nia and eliminate her, no problem. That was how crazy it was. So at the ending points of the match, he pretty much picked him up, tossed him like it was nothing, and then he was like, you know what? It's over. I'm done. I'm taking my championship. Hits him with that monstrous power bomb, that pop-up power bomb. 1, 2, 3. Obafemi is still your NXT North American champion. Congratulations. You have a great future ahead of you. As do you, Dragon Lee, as well. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. And this match was actually supposed to happen, not even Vengeance Day. It was supposed to be sometime before that, but of course, Ilya Dragunov was not cleared by medical staff because of his match with Ridge Holland, so they had to push back. And a lot of us were disappointed. The NXT universe, they were hoping that the match would happen at least at Vengeance Day, which it did, so we all got our wish. And prior to the match starting, Carmelo Hayes said, oh no, not Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams said, hey look, this is a one-on-one match. And just before he was able to finish, Carmelo Hayes was like, hey, I get it. You want me to stay in the back, out of your way? It's cool, no worries. But Trick Willie indeed tricked him. Because he told Melo, look, I want you by my side. I want my brother out there when I win this championship. I need you out there ringside. And Melo was like, all right, word. Let's do this. You got me by your side. I'm gonna stay out your way though. And Melo was staying out of his way to a certain point, but things got out of hand. And as Mark Ranella would say, a dysfunction at the junction. About a time or two around the match. But anyway, Trick Williams had proved that night that he is championship material. And he's been proving it throughout the weeks that he decided to do all of his matches solo. All the times he, didn't want Carmelo Hayes outside at the ring side with him. He was like, you know what? I got to take care of business by myself. I want to prove that I'm nobody's sidekick. I want to prove that I can be my own household name. And he did just that. Unfortunately, not to the point of winning the championship match. So congratulations to Ilya Dragunov for still being the NXT champion. You are the Mad Dragon for a reason. And as well as to Trick Williams, you gave one heck of a match. And you definitely deserve to be NXT champion. Unfortunately, it's not going to be at this certain time especially what happened just as NXT was going off the air. Just when you think Carmelo Hayes was going to help him outside the ring, because Trick has already been through heck and back. And, we all thought that he was going to help him outside the ring. And, well, for me, not personally. I kind of had my suspicions about Carmelo Hayes. But anyway. A lot of people were shocked to see that Carmelo Hayes turned his back on Trick Williams and blindsided him with an attack. And later on tonight, Carmelo Hayes is going to explain why he did what he did to someone he called his brother. Now, call me crazy, but I'm fairly certain you don't do that to family. You don't cheap shot them. You don't turn your back on them. But Trick Williams, he's got a future. He's got a bright future ahead of him. We definitely see him winning championship gold at some point in his career. And, he's got to be hurting, and not just physically, but emotionally, because they came up together even before NXT. They were best friends. They were brothers in arms. And Melo threw all that away in a single night. So we're all going to have to wait till later tonight to see what Carmelo Hayes has to say about his actions. And, these two are going to fight. It's going to hurt a lot of us, but you know what? It's going to happen sooner or later. But outside of that, Vengeance Day, it was such a great night. This past Sunday night, we'll have to see what the results are going to be later on tonight. NXT Tuesday, be sure to tune in. And it's still crazy to see what happened just as NXT was going off the air. But anyway, this has been an episode of Slam Jam. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching my programming. I'm going to see if I can get another live Slam Jam episode for you guys. I love you all. I'll catch you in the next content. Good night.